Hi, my name is Connor Fredris, and I will be presenting the Volkswagen Dieselgate as my individual case study. So, an overview to the presentation. First, I will look at some background to the issue. I will look at the ethical issue at stake. I will look at it under the Deontological Ethics. I will look at it under a professional code of ethics. And then I will look at some objections, and then I will wrap everything up and show you my references. Beginning with some background, Volkswagen released a new diesel passenger vehicle in 2015. This vehicle had amazing fuel economy. I'm talking up to 40 miles per gallon. And the downside of it was that it had bad nitrogen oxide emissions. This was 15 to 35 times the regulated level of fuel emissions. The engineers at Volkswagen covered this up with a defeat device. This device was used to hide these emissions in lab testing so that it would pass through all regulations that it went through. And this really didn't cover up the road emissions or the actual emissions. Later in 2015, the United States Environmental Protection Agency noticed these bad emissions and questioned Volkswagen. So Martin Winterkorn, who's Volkswagen's CEO, admitted to knowing of this issue and claimed responsibility and then resigned from his job. Also, the heads of research and development, Ulrich Hackenberg and Wolfgang Hatz, were also fired from Volkswagen. So the issue at stake here is, should the engineers and heads of research and development have covered up emissions with the defeat device, and should all levels of Volkswagen's hierarchy given the okay to release the vehicle? What do you think? First, we are going to look at this ethical issue through deontological ethics. Deontological ethics focuses on following the rules strictly while also being ethical. The Clean Air Act, passed by the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States, showed that the nitrogen oxide emissions of Volkswagen's vehicles were well above the legal limit. Volkswagen hid this with the defeat device that made it pass lab testing, but not the road testing, and this is where the Environmental Protection Agency saw that Volkswagen was doing this. This action was passed through the chain of command at Volkswagen. It showed that they tried to bypass code so that performance was not compromised. Therefore, this is declared unethical under deontological ethics because emissions were against EPA's laws. Next, we will look at this issue under the Professional Code of Ethics of the National Society of Professional Engineers. This code is used by all engineers in the workplace and throughout their career as engineers. First, Volkswagen violated Canon 1. Canon 1 states that an engineer should hold paramount the safety and health and welfare of the public. Volkswagen ignored this restriction by EPA and let out tons of nitrogen oxide emissions into the environment, both harming people and the plants and animals. Secondly, Volkswagen violated Canon 5. Canon 5 states to avoid deceptive acts. Volkswagen decided that they were going to hide these poor emissions with the defeat device, therefore acting deceptively towards the public and the government. The company knew they were doing what they were doing, therefore this is unethical under the code. Now on to objections. Volkswagen, adding the defeat device, did make their vehicles pass under certain circumstances. Therefore, they were following the code. Technically, they followed the EPA's rules because there was no rule regarding the defeat device. The defeat device did make them pass under lab testing. Therefore, this could be seen as ethical under deontological ethics. The second objection that I have is regarding the professional ethical of code. Canon 3 states that an engineer should issue public statements only in an objective and truthful manner. Volkswagen CEO did make a public statement that was truthful in acknowledging the issue and stating that he would fix it. Then he resigned from his position. This could be considered ethical under the Code of Ethics. In conclusion, Volkswagen released a vehicle that they knew wasn't to nitrogen oxide emissions code. They were caught after approximately half a year by the Environmental Protection Agency. Decisions to hide emissions and send through the vehicles were unethical under Deontological Ethics. They did not follow Canons 1 and 5 of the Professional Code of Ethics of Engineers. Therefore, this action was unethical. And these are my references. Thank you.